What's up, everybody? It's Najir here of Big Gold Belt Media.
Hey guys, Gotham Geek Girl here of Otakus and Geeks and Geek HQ.
Hey guys, this is Mufsin with the Nerd Blast. How are you guys doing? This is our review of the new Mortal Kombat film. This is going to be spoilers, of course. So if you guys have yet to see the movie, get your butt off this couch and not return until you actually absolutely watch the film, and then come back and watch our review, of course. So welcome, guys. This is a collaboration, so good to have both of you on.
Definitely a pleasure.
Yeah. So what did you guys think of the film?
Oh man, this is a long time coming. We talked before we started, but like it was supposed to release pre-pandemic, and I think we all can say that we grew up at one way, shape, or form loving Mortal Kombat, whether it was in the Pizza Hut playing the arcade game, or whether you fell in love with it the first time in 1995. But this is one of the most iconic franchises in all of action and video games. So anytime you touch something sacred like this, everybody's going to be looking. I think there's a lot of anticipation going into it. And after finally seeing it, I can honestly say that I'm not mad and I'm not happy, but it's a lot to talk about. So I'll say I'm at peace. It's a thing that happened. That's where I'm at.
Yes.
I feel the same. Like, I mean, we waited I think it was 26 years for this movie. The first one came out in 95, so I was probably like 7 or something. And I remember I probably shouldn't have seen it in theaters, but we don't cousins. I remember leaving the theater like, oh, like freaking out, so hyped that song. Like it was just like, the 90s. It was just epic. And then, years later as an adult, like it coming back, it was like something I was like so freaking excited for. We've seen like fan made. We saw there was like a YouTube series which was
the
sick.
Badness. Oh, I love that.
Legacy.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Like, this is it. Like I need this. Like this is one reboot that I can back. And then like when it happened, like all the anticipation, I was like, I have to take a step back and remember video game movies are never good. So I still wanted a little more from this. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'm 50-50. I took it for what it was, and I really enjoyed it. Like, the fighting was sick. Like, the fatalities, the blood, they got that right. But the story was lacking, man. Like, that's what we really got to focus on. Like, it was like an hour and 30 minutes. It felt like an indie film somebody shot at NYU. Like, it was way too short. Like, that's WB's problem. They keep interfering, and they ruin, like, something that could have been insane. Like, this had so much potential.
Yeah. I actually loved the 95 version when that came out. Not so much a fan of Annihilation. That's one movie I kind of want to put in the back burner. Just
like
throw that out.
Doesn't exist.
Like it doesn't exist.
Wasn't even going to mention it if it didn't get mentioned today.
But yeah, this has been a long time since those films came out. I am a huge fan of the franchise. I love the lore. I think for me, Mortal Kombat X was like the definitive version for me, like when it came to story. So when I heard about the reboot, I was like ecstatic to see what they would do with the property, starting from the ground up. But I'm on the same boat with you guys. It's kind of 50-50 for me. Some parts I like, some parts I didn't like. So it's kind of a pendulum balance for me after watching this film.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and say it. 95 is a legend, a classic, and it still holds the throne. So now that that's out there and people can think what they want. To this version, I mean, you would think after all these years, of course, the visual is going to be better. That should be a no-brainer. But like, I felt like the plot definitely had issues. The psychology of the characters also had issues. Like, I'm sorry, you can't tell me, Liu Kang, that I'm not your enemy, but you shoot a fireball at me. Like, there was no way. And like, we get it. This is pre-tournament, so this is a little bit of a mainstream storyline that some people may not be familiar with. And we it was hella cool to see Kung Lao and Liu Kang together. Obviously, that Kung Lao's death is truly what fuels Liu Kang going into the future. So it was definitely cool to see the two of them together in that capacity. But like again, Liu Kang here as the most peaceful, non-violent person, unless needing to, shoots a fireball at Kano and says, "I'm not your enemy." And this is like, you definitely just hit me. That's definitely enemy territory there. So like little things like that, and that's not nitpicking because it's other occurrences of just some of the psychology of the characters just lack. And like, we're fans, and this was a project catered to fans, so we're looking at everything. We all saw Katana's what do you call it? Her
The fan.
her fan in the background. We saw the Nightwolf reference. Like we're looking, and these things are there because they want us to look. So I don't want to hear anybody say like, "Well, you're thinking too hard." Well, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're doing this.
Fan
And
service.
people are like,
this.
"Oh, you're complaining like Johnny Cage wasn't in it, blah blah blah," and it's like they could have just easily made Cole Johnny. Like honestly, they made him like a fake Baraka. Like, it was
I don't even know where they go with him next. That's my biggest thing.
And I
we'll
didn't
get there.
hate it. It's just I felt like they didn't do enough character development. Like the whole beginning opening sequence with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, it was sick.
Yeah.
And, like, I think
If
if they had this in mind that they wanted to do sequels, they should have focused on them. Give us their story, give us their backstory, make it make sense. Scorpion's Revenge, what was it? The animated movie? Perfect example.
Yeah.
Like, they could have just focused, did better character development, made this a 2-hour movie, and we would have been gold.
Yeah, WB gets their animated stuff right.
They do.
All the time. They can use those right.
L to the yes.
They know how to storytell.
Yeah. Also, Justice League, Justice Society. What's it called? Justice Society of America 2 comes out today. Cheap plug, but again, they do their animated stuff good.
Yes, they do.
I just want to throw out one more other thing that I pass along is that my instant issue with this film is that the score was absolutely trash. It was trash. And the soundtrack of 95 is legendary. We get it. And it probably was never ever going to live up to that. But the score and the soundtrack of this was trash. I hated every bit of it. I feel like it never added to how climactic certain fights were, certain scenes were. It to me was taken away from it. It didn't even fit the tone. Like I feel like, and for us, the gamers, when a fatality is coming, the score changes because it's that moment like, oh, here's an opportunity where if you know how to do it, finish him, something's going to happen. So like, while they were cliche with the dialogue that they use, you mean to tell me you can add that heightened, that energetic score and beat to certain scenes to make it feel more like something? I mean, to be honest, every time something happened, I was like, oh, this is going to be a friendship. Because that's just how imbalanced it was. It was really just like, what are they doing? Like, give us the dramatics with that. Like, these are the things that makes this franchise popular, the iconic lines and that cinematic feel, but it was on a video game. And that's why it was so easy to make this a movie back in the day. Because, like, it just makes sense. It should be a movie. And it's just like, this movie just lost a lot of the essence as to why this franchise is as popular as it is.
Yeah.
Like, No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, a lot of people are complaining, like, oh, well, why didn't you like it? Why did you expect it to have a story? Just because it's based on a video game does not mean that the story should be shit. It shouldn't be trash. You can have a great story and still give us great fight scenes. It happens. That's why I was going in super excited because I love martial arts and you can tell an amazing story. And a lot of the actors in it, I prefer less known actors that actually have martial arts background. Like Joe Taslim is from Warrior and I freaking love that show. And like all these other.
And The Raid.
The Raid. And then like, I like that these actors brought that to it. So it felt realistic. But if you gave us a good story, this could have been gold. Like it always comes down to story for me. And like, I felt like I said, it was an hour and a half. When you took out the music credits at the end, it was legit an hour and a half. And I was like, literally when that whole thing happened, the fight with Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Cole Young. They were like all together fighting together, and I was like, we saw a lot of this in the trailer. That was my other trailer showed Jax's arms. They showed the best 2 scenes. That was a complaint. But then like when that scene ended, I was like, oh, like shit's about to finally pop off. Like everything's about to start now. We're gonna like get an introduction to the tournament. And then like the credits rolled up and I was like, what the fuck? Like that was the movie? I thought it was just starting. Like where was the climax? Where was the buildup? There was none. It literally was like start, small battle. Like in my quick review thing, I was like, it felt like a...
I was just going to say, because it looked like she just had a hiccup real quick.
It
really did lack that big fight moment.
Yeah, that's the thing for me, because this felt more like a setup, like just setup rather than just going into the tournament. I think that was like their initial plan, was to introduce these characters, and then hopefully if they do a sequel, then they can just focus on the tournament.
Yeah.
But I feel like they kind of rushed everything, and they should have just given us more time to, you know, give us a better understanding of these characters, because like, you know, like as a fan of the games, like there's so much backstory with these characters.
Mm-hmm. And you brought up a good point too. I mean, there's endless source material, and you didn't have to look far, because Mortal Kombat X 10 was brilliant, and 10 was so good. 10, I was like, there's no way I'm not getting 11, because it was just that good of storytelling. It's the same thing with Injustice, also WB Properties, where it's just like Injustice 1 story was insane. I'm absolutely getting Injustice 2, and I don't care if it's bad or not. So like this, to be able to write a compelling story and kind of know how your fan base is going to react, the proof is in the pudding. And for all these years, they introduced new characters, so it had nothing to do with like, I know some people complained like, why did you use that character, etc., etc. They have an array of disposable characters, that's without questioning. But again, a little bit of psychology and backstory to some of these characters as to why are they your champion? Why are you rolling with Shang Tsung? You know, like why? And then like, we know who Shang Tsung is, but like, let me just ask just a simple question. This is the other part that I had a problem with, and I had to take myself out of my shoes and my brain of knowing this. But like, why didn't Liu Kang go after Shang Tsung? No one ever said how menacing he was. They said Sub-Zero was not the one to not mess with by himself, but Shang Tsung killed your cousin. So why didn't you go after him? So it was really weird to me when they started picking who was going to go after who, and Sonya was like, I want Melina, and they was like, nah, you're getting Kano, and then he was like, nah, it's personal with you and Cabal. Cabal didn't kill your cousin. Shang Tsung did. Isn't that who you want to go after? This should have been a discussion of saying, nah, you don't want to mess with him. Just because he's the leader does not mean he's necessarily the strongest. And if you don't know anything, then they never had that discussion. They said, yeah, he's you know, of the Outworld or whatnot. But like, also you send Goro Goro faced your least experienced person, and no one talked about how he beat him. So like, why wouldn't you? If he can beat Goro, who seems to obviously be the biggest wrecking crew, why didn't Cole go out to Shang Tsung? Like, these are things that like, although we know why, but like for storytelling, people who don't know why, there's something missing here. And this is like, I don't get it. Yep. But bottom line is like, Sonya going after Kano, that literally made no sense to me. She literally was just fighting Melina and got whooped. And she was like, yeah, I hope I get her. And it was like, nah, you're not getting her. You're getting Kano. Like,
yeah, why
let her go after who she wants?
Take that out, because they're like the two enemies that, you know, deserve to have that match, and they decide just to have Sonya fight off against another character.
Yeah.
That was another complaint I had, that they leveled up too quick.
Oh my like, God, she came back loaded.
I get my ass beat by regular people, but now I can fight Goro. Like,
yes,
it was just too quick. Like, wait, like day and night.
Yeah, my man definitely lost. We know of him losing his last 2 MMA fights, and he comes out and gets and Goro 2 times his size, twice as many hands, and he beat. Okay, well, I mean, that's what we're going with. You know, I hate to say it, but this
by a noob.
A noob, exactly. This is the first time I ever seen Goro underpowered.
And it seemed like it was known. He's like known to get his ass whooped. Like, I kind of at one point was like, oh, is he being paid to lose? Like I was like, you know, these are questions you ask when you watch a movie, and like everything just didn't. I don't know.
He did come off as like a paid fighter who threw fights. Yeah. Because he was close with the promoter, and the promoter was like, we'll throw you in there just for the sake of making a fight. And that, you know, if you know anything, that tips the house when it comes to betting, where it's just like, you think he's a big time deal because the promoter put him in there, but he's literally just there to throw the fight.
Got his ass whooped.
Yeah. Why do we have these questions?
It's like they just want us to, you know, be mesmerized. They don't want us to focus on that stuff, but that's like, you know, that's going to be on our minds after the movie.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for this.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I guess for the sake of us kind of, you know, scratching the things we didn't like, what will be a few things that we did was really high on with this?
I would say for me, it was yeah.
That was beautiful. That was like,
yeah, that was great.
I was like, this is
but yeah, I was gonna Mortal Kombat. I was gonna say Kano by far was like the standout character for me. He was like probably one of the best parts of the movie for me.
Yep.
Like the actor, I think his name is Josh Lawson. He captured the essence of the character perfectly. I think it really suited him to play Kano, so that totally worked for me. Other than that, I think Sub-Zero, Joe Taslim, he did an amazing job as Sub-Zero. He treated him more like not just as a fighter, but kind of like a serial killer. Like when he goes down the street trying to, you know, use his ice powers and everybody, like that to me gave me some like Friday the 13th vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that totally worked for me. And of course, Scorpion was great too. Yeah, I would say yeah, those three characters totally worked. And then the fatalities, like the fatalities were amazing. I like that they kind of brought that into the games, like with what was it, Kung Lao, when he threw the hat and was able to kill Nataro with that. That was a fatality from one of the recent games. So I like that. Although my only complaint with the fatality was that fight between Jax and Reiko, because they ended up going to that pit place and there's like spikes underneath it. So I'm like,
we all was waiting for it.
Wasted opportunity.
Yeah, I was like, why didn't Jax just push him into the pit? Why did he have to use his arms to, you know, finish him off?
We were all waiting for it.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was like, what? That's the fatality you're gonna use? Like, did you not look at where you're at right now? You're at a damn bottomless pit. Like, why?
And regardless, this is an iconic stage that we all
know.
Is. As soon as you went there, all of us knew what was happening. All of us. And it didn't deliver there. They messed up on the fan service there. Not a question.
They did. Yeah, definitely.
I did like the actress that played Sonya. I just think they could have then done, like I said, with everyone, a better job character development wise. So for me, cast with more the story. Because she was so like strung up on like figuring out the lore of Mortal Kombat and like protecting the Earth realm, and then it was just kind of like all this build up about the tournament, and then like nothing just happens. It just like didn't exist. So that's kind of like a complaint for me. But like, I like the cast. I don't think I had a problem with anyone in the cast really.
Yeah.
Oh, Raiden though, I did no service to Raiden at all. Like.
He was underutilized.
Raiden were terrible. Remember when like he did the like what do you call it? It was like to block off so they couldn't enter.
Yeah.
It looked horrible. Yeah, the force field looked horrible. Like CGI from like 1990. Like I was like, it's this little sprinkle of like little lightning. Like that was, I didn't like what they did with Raiden, honestly.
I know I'm supposed to say something good here, but while I have the opportunity, since Raiden's on in question, I like how Raiden all of a sudden was like he can't get involved in this, and he was just you know off hands with everything. but then he teleported people to each other to engage the fight. So it's like, oh, okay, so you can get involved if you want to, right? It's like, you can teleport us anywhere, right? It's like, yeah, all right, I guess I can get involved a little bit then. Well, I'll just set you up to fight. And I was like, oh,
Maybe a
okay.
better clarification would have helped. Like, I can't get involved, but I can at least put you guys in the correct destination if you want me to.
Yeah. So, well, I have another comment with that. But the things I like too, I like the selection of characters used. I definitely fanboyed out when I seen Cabal. He's one of my favorites, and I like the
They got
dynamic
him
with that character
right to a T.
Yeah. There's a little, and I'm also a little upset that there probably won't be any more Cabal. I mean, typically no one ever really dies in Mortal Kombat.
I think, well, yeah, that's the thing, because no one really dies in Mortal Kombat. So even Shang Tsung, he mentioned in the movie that death is only a gateway. So obviously, there'll be some way for them to come back for a sequel.
Yeah, and maybe that does.
I want to see Johnny. I want to see Katana.
Maybe that does make Cabal more of the Cabal that we've seen in, like, I think it was introduced Mortal Kombat 3, more less mouthy, more assassinist, and so But I like the selection of characters used, and I'll go as far as saying I love the cinematography. I thought with the
it was beautiful.
CGI. Yeah, they didn't overkill it. I mean, the first phase of the movie, the Sub-Zero Scorpion backstory was dope. The Goro fight at the house was really cool. And they did some things that I thought was really visually good for a movie, and also visually pleasing for video gamers as well. So the cinematography was good on that note. Like I said, for it to be 2021, and the first one was made in 1995, and then a very successful YouTube one with a YouTube budget, obviously. This one had no room but to go up, and it did. So it was pleasing on that note. So I'm happy with that.
Speaking of that, I remember when they were making Legacy, there were talks that they were supposed to make a movie out of that. With the same director from the YouTube series. But I guess that didn't really pan out, and then that's when they decided just to just start over. I would have loved to see where they would go if they were to continue that YouTube series.
Same. I also would say, on the same token, because YouTube was just killing it with miniseries then, Street Fighter had one as well too that I was very intrigued with. Like, hey, this is pretty awesome for video game stuff.
Assassin's Fist. Where
are we gonna go with this? So a lot of good stuff. If you all have never checked that out, definitely after you're done watching our review, check out both of those, because it's good content for just lovers of both of these franchises. But I absolutely would have loved if the creators of that Mortal Kombat YouTube series could have did something with a bigger budget, and the support of a major network like Warner Media, and what could have came to light. So
what I would have loved to see though in the reboot film, going back to the film, was getting to see more of Outworld, because we only got to see a little bit of it, and it looked more like a wasteland, like the way they shot it. I would have loved to see more of Outworld, like with the how the inhabitants are, and like just seeing where they live and stuff, kind of similar to the 95 movie. Like, I love the way that was shot, showing Outworld. I would have loved to see more of that, but I'm guessing they're trying to save that for the sequel.
Yeah. I mean, much like it was said, this film was short, and not short and sweet to the point, but like short and like somebody from above said, this has got to be an hour and 30 minutes or less. Do what you got to do to make it happen. And I feel like, people bats were against the wall, and they put out something. And maybe there's a little less pressure less pressure in the sense, or I'll say less expectation in the sense, because of how it is released. It is HBO Max and in theaters, and why it did get, many more views than Godzilla did in its first 3 days. And it went against Demon Slayer in the box office, and it made, respectable money for the times. You know, there's not, I guess there wasn't a huge expectation to this has to be great in order to make a lot of money, because that's really not the case right now in the world. And that's probably why they released it overseas first, because they say, well, let's see what we can do where places do have their theaters open and don't
Yeah.
have HBO Max. And let's see what those type of numbers look. And maybe that's where they were just trying to bring in the money. So I think ultimately, my statement in making this is that, they did it. This one's out. This is the start of the franchise, possibly. There's a lot more pressure and expectation going into this sequel. No, I don't think no one's going to let this one off the hook. That's why there's so much debate online about this, because people like it because they like it, or they like it because they want to see it get pushed because of the possibility of a second one, or people just hate it and they're just like, but I'm also still a fan, so I'm not going to be really bad on it, but it is what it is. Again, optimistic for what's to come. So, but the next one, no one's letting it off the hook. No one. It has got to do everything this one did wrong. It has to be longer. It has to have more depth. It has to go to the main story arc. We want the tournament. We want some of our other favorite iconic characters to be involved. Johnny Cage, obviously, we know, but like we want other of these people here. Katana, like you said, Melina has to come back because we need that. Give us Sindel. I feel like that's probably an important character that could really play towards the future. We saw pictures of Shao Kahn, so do we get to see him finally? Shane Tsung answers to somebody,
of course.
And then these are main characters, and again, with them having so many disposable characters, give us some people we did not think we would see in this. Do us all of that. So it's a lot of room for growth, but like no one's letting it off the hook if they decide to go with a sequel. No one.
It felt like a TV show to me, honestly. It didn't feel like a full feature film. So I think everything you just mentioned, in order for sequels to work, they have to really flesh out a good story. Yeah. And surprisingly, I thought this was shot during COVID because of the quality of the movie we got and the lack of character. It was so, I felt like it wasn't a big cast. And I was like, oh, maybe they shot this during COVID and they had to be COVID safe. So to know that it was made before COVID is a little more upsetting, because like, why was this so rushed and like so choppy and cut up if this was already planned before COVID? So yeah, same thing, going in for a sequel. I think that's why we're excited. And like, I feel like that's an issue with a lot of movies and television shows now, is that we hype things more for the excitement of what we expect to come. So not to bring up WandaVision, but like, I thought it was good, but I don't think it was great as everyone made it out to be. And I think that's the problem with entertainment now, is we go in expecting so much greatness and we're like, oh, this is going to happen later on. So now I'm so excited, and not exactly reviewing what we're observing at the moment, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely makes sense. A lot of people not applying the realism of the facts that are in front of them, just the possibility of what is to come. You're absolutely right with the WandaVision reference here. The fans booked the last 3 episodes of that series without any of that ever coming to light. So,
I know they're contracted to do 4 more movies after Mortal Kombat. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I was reading an interview that Joe did, and he said that he's contracted to do 4 more films if it becomes successful. So I'm guessing that the next film's probably going to focus more on the tournament, and then with the third might be more like after the tournament. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
So I think a good thing, we start getting towards the end of this review, is ultimately what is our expectations and desires going into this sequel. And even with some of the things that's already been said, let's just kind of get to a point where we can tell our fans right now we're going to talk about our expectations for the sequel film. And obviously, after the credit scene in this one, and how that may apply to the sequel. But yeah, what are the things that we want to come out of this, the possible sequel to this film?
Well, obviously, I want to see the tournament happen. I do want to see more characters from the games being introduced, especially Johnny Cage. We did see him being teased at the end of the film, so I can't wait to see who they pick to play him and see how he does in the sequel. But yeah, I like to see more of that, and then of course more of Outworld. Getting to see more of the locales over there, and then getting to see the big bad himself, Shao Kahn. I want to see how he's going to be portrayed in the film. Hopefully, a much better version than the last iteration that we got from him.
He better have a badass hammer because we already seen one hammer, so his hammer better be 4 or 5 times the size of this one. So that's for sure.
As long as he's similar to how the recent games portrayed him, then I am all for it. So okay. I really hope they do that too. Yeah. Other than that, like better development with the core cast, because I feel like we didn't get enough time spent with them in the first movie. So more of that in the sequel, and hopefully a longer runtime too. Better writing, better way to craft a story. So definitely take out more of the lore from the games into the next feature. So that's definitely what I am hoping that we get from the sequel.
Yeah.
So what worked for me was, like I said, the fighting scenes are pretty good, and the nostalgic element that they brought to it. There was a lot of like homage to the '95 movie and also to the games. But I think they could make the fight scenes a little longer.
Yes.
That felt very rushed to me too, like the Jax scene. What other one? There was a few where it just felt like they were great, but it just progressed too quickly, where it wasn't enough of combat, if that makes sense.
I agree.
Too. Better story and more
fights.
Fight. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with everything you guys have been saying.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing from something that hasn't been said is that I want to see, where does Cole Young go next? Now that he is essentially canon and he's going to Hollywood to find Johnny Cage, where does this leave him? Now, is Johnny Cage already a champion? Because if he's not a champion, that means he ultimately has to become a champion, which means he has to get the champion markings from somebody. I wonder if Cole is about to go look for his own demise. And this is something we just we didn't know we wanted, but maybe. Some people are not a fan of Cole, some people are. But like, could you imagine if Johnny Cage, an actor with minor, martial arts skills, comes in and beats the champion who beats Goro? Like, make it make sense. So, but now I would like to see how they're going to get John, if he's already a champion, and or how. Well, he is a champion, I think, because that's why they're making him go after him, I believe. So okay, so fine. If he is a champion, then the ideal is, then I would like for them to a little bit explain why certain people were picked initially, because I mean, Jax didn't have arms, and they went and got him. But if Johnny Cage,
I want to know how that whole thing worked with the arms. Like, he didn't have arms first, then they ended up putting like
baby
a
arms,
cheap version, baby arms, and then suddenly he grows into mechanical arms. Like, how does that work?
That's also what annoyed me. Like I was saying, like the build up was there was no consistency, no story to anybody's anything.
Well, look, when Jax didn't show up, they didn't even go back and look for him. They were just like, oh man. They was like, oh, my homie, he late. I was like, are you not gonna go back?
How did you get there? Like,
I was like, how did you not think about looking for Jax? Like, after talking about where he was for the past few minutes,
like did an ambulance pick him up? How did he get there?
I'm so confused. And again, if the idea was like he's a champion, so we need to go save him, then why are you saving the person without arms and not going readily getting someone like Johnny Cage who's available? Like, look, call it nitpicking all you want, but like, make this make sense, And then sure, there may be another movie, and even though if he has a contract or not, we've seen people get contracts for movies and it never come to anything. But like, if this is a one-off, and if you writing an introductory to a series, then like explain this for people not like us who don't watch any of this, who's just like, I want to get into this for the first time. Like 95 helped us as kids understand and become the maniacs that we are now for this. Is because they were able to explain these things thoroughly, and like it just all made sense. Like is this. You have so much source material after all these years. Like there should really be no huge holes in here where we're sitting here like, wait, what? But as far as with Johnny Cage, I mean, I seen this on Twitter, and I'll go ahead and say it too. But like, I would love to see The Miz be casted.
The Miz.
You need somebody with a lot of charisma here, and like they better be lucky Kano's killed off, because if Kano and whoever plays Johnny Cage is in it, it's going to be a one up show on who steals the most screen time for it.
I would
like,
love to see The Miz as
like
Johnny Cage. I think he has the right charisma for that.
Yeah,
and I think Ed Boon was supportive of that too when he saw that. He was like, "Yeah, I'd be down for Miz as Johnny Cage."
Awesome. I would be all for that. So, yeah, man. I think you knocked my points out too. Let's go to the outer world where I want to see things get down and get serious now. I'm for it. And I also say this, I wouldn't be mad if they decide to bring in some cameos from the previous movies. Would be mad if some people was able to just show face just
that
because.
That would be sick. Yeah. Show some love to the the 95 film. Yeah, of course.
Yep. Yeah.
I was gonna say too, another thing, like
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, another thing, like, I feel like with movies back in the day, even if like we watch them again or we haven't in years, something always like stays with us, and I feel like a lot of movies now lack that. So say with the 95 movie, to this day I will never forget the Johnny Cage scene with Goro and the sunglasses and all that just stays in your mind. And I feel like with this movie now, it was like I don't have an image stuck in my head.
Thank you. Yep. And I could tell you another scene from that movie.
Stuck out. Yeah, I get.
There was no iconic moment or iconic fight.
They tried to do like your soul is mine like 3 times. Like they tried to fake it, but like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, even the first time where they were all together and they all got in that big fight and everyone hit their pose before all the warriors came in there. Like I will always remember that. I was like, oh, it's about to go down. Everybody's ready and they're all in there. And then like how the fight went down. And then the music jumps in there, and you're just like, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. I'll say this as my last thought though. Much to the point that you just made, I know this is another film, and maybe we could come together to do a review for this, but I also have a lot of reserves considering the next release from Warner Brothers is Space Jam, which probably is going to have this same problem.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's going to have the same problem. The original Space Jam. Mm-hmm. First of all, that soundtrack might be one of the best top 3 soundtracks of all movies of all time. So that's already an issue right there.
God. You know those days when you were a kid, like, and you couldn't stop dancing in the car, and you're just like, woo, like freaking out in the theater, like. Space Jam was it.
Blasting that on stereo, like, come on, like that was my thing, my jam.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Space Jam may be going down the same path of doom, where it's like, it's gonna be a big debate online. So
come on,
it's certain things you just can't touch.
I have a love-hate with LeBron.
Yeah, and then the idea that like this is already coming off like Wreck-It Ralph, which is fine. That's a cool movie, but
they're using a lot of properties.
A lot. So we'll see. But that's my remark on Mortal Kombat. We'll just have to see what happens when the next one comes about. Well, I guess
I really hope they do another movie, because I would like to see where they go from here.
Yep. Guess we have to wait for about maybe max 2 years. I would think that.
I would think so. Yeah, but from what I've seen, it's doing pretty well. It's the most viewed on HBO Max, and it's not doing too bad in the box office either. So I don't see why they shouldn't greenlight a sequel. I feel like it's going to be any moment now where they'll announce it.
All right. All right, folks. So closing remarks and ratings.
Well, as I said, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. I'm more half and half on this one. So I guess I would give it a 7 out of 10 for me.
6 for me.
Man, I'm about a 6. Didn't hate it. It was entertaining, but like, give us a little more.
Yeah.
Which is good. 6 and 7s.
We
lot of room
waited
to grow,
over 2
folks.
decades. It should
Yeah.
have been a 9.
Yeah.
A lot
yeah.
of room to grow. A lot of room to grow.
A lot. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Mufsin, I guess you can take us home. You can close us out for the review today.
Well, I appreciate that. So, as you guys see, that's our review of Mortal Kombat. Let us know what you thought of the film. What did you like about it? What did you hate about it? What do you hope to see in another film in this franchise, or do you want to see another Mortal Kombat movie? Whatever the case is, definitely leave the comments at your disposal. You could follow me on the Nerd Blast on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch as well. So definitely leave all your thoughts with on the channel as well.
Gotham Geek Girl here. You can follow me at gothamgeekgirl.com. I'm also on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and trying the TikTok thing. And you can also follow my podcast on Otakus and Geeks.
Awesome, man. Yeah, Najee here of Big O Belt Media, and you can find me at bigobelt.com or bigobeltmedia.com. On both of them. That will get you to the same location. Weekly movie reviews, weekly podcasts, and all forms of everything that you enjoy. These two people, we all love the same genre and topics and whatnot. So, like, yeah, get a little bit of dose of my perspective as well if you're looking for extra content. So, it's been a pleasure to talk about this film, folks.
Yeah, it's great talking to both of you guys about the movie, and yeah.
Don't collab.
Yeah.
Can't wait for cons again to see you guys.
Yeah, same. I cannot wait. All right. Later, everybody.
Thank y'all for watching.